Sheesh! First you want a banner, then you want a case, and now you got this fly deck box in this super beautiful playmat. Oh my god. Man, you were just living the Wait. What the What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Man Pigama with this man that doesn't need any introduction. Now does he?
Hey everyone, I'm Paul Cooper. Welcome back to my boy's channel. So I did something crazy yesterday actually. I top 4 the regional with Adamancipator. This is basically just a bunch of rock cards. So the story behind it was I was driving to the regional yesterday and I just was going to play for fun. And I just needed a deck and I put it together. And somehow won the first round, second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, started 5-0. Then I lost round 6 to Cash Tier because since I didn't know like the true combos of my deck, they just like broke my board. And so I just need to create a better board. And then I won my round 7, and then the last round we ended up drawing. But the guy I played last round, he could have killed me before time was called, but he just was scrambling. So yeah, I think it's a real nice deck. It's really fire. The decks I played against like two super heavy samurai, but he brick. Yeah, he brick. I think games 1 and I hand trapped him I think 1 game, and then the second game he brick. So round 1 was like branded. He allowed me to resolve Excite Time Night, and then like play against a couple super heavies. Play against Go Pop Punk. Play against one Ellis player. That was the one I drew against the trap deck. Then I played against the Gold Pop Punk deck, and then it was like just a few other random ones. And it's 40 cards. Shout outs to just everyone that I rode with. Shout outs to everyone that was supporting me like online and everything, especially once I posted it. And just shout out to like just everyone I was like theory with the deck for the little time that I did have right before I submitted my deck list. So that's basically it. So we're playing Adamancipator, and we're not playing any super heavy cards. Those cards are trash. Don't play them cards, guys, or you will brick. Like, we're not trying to brick. We're just trying to play all gas and defensive cards, and somehow it worked. I only won 2 dice roll yesterday out of 8 rounds, which was crazy. So I kept going second, and maybe the deck might need to be a go second deck, because every time I went first, I lost. But every time I went second, I won. So maybe I need to just switch it to a go second deck, or just make my turn 1 board better. So let's get right into the list. So to start off with it, you know what I'm saying? We got the miners, Adamancipator Researcher, we have the Seekers, and we have the 3 Analyzers. Yeah, these are just mandatory. You play these ones. This is like the best going second one because it doesn't take up your normal summon. So you can just, affect special. If they do anything to it, that's cool. You still have your normal summon. And like you can get to stop your Doki. So you play the miners. And then to go along with the miners, so any one of these cards can make a decent board. What that board is, it's literally just depends on if you get hand trapped and just what card you have in your hand. But if you start with 1 card uninterrupted, you can with like 2 to 3 interruptions. So it's kind of comparable to like Super Heavy Samurai, because you do like draw cards in the combo too, and so it's basically like Super Heavy Samurai, but it doesn't brick, and like doesn't lose the draw. So that's like the main thing. And then we got 3 Small World because it searches for any card in your deck. So this is like the best card in the deck, and then this would be the second one because you special summon off any of your rocks. The third best card in your deck, and then just this right here is like a support card. But yeah, so 12 1-card starter, Super Heavy Samurai, and they had 12. Now they're down to 9. So that's like another reason why I want this deck, because I want 12 1-card starter. So we got those, and then we have the support rocks. So since I built the deck that morning, I didn't obviously have time to test with it. So these ratios are a little off. I would change them now, but I only play 2 Doki. I think I would definitely want to play 3 Doki because just it's like part of like a starter as well. Because these are 12 just 1-card starter by itself, but this is like 1.5 starter because you need another rock in your hand. So and so this right here would be like your big banky of the Super Heavy Samurai cards. So this exactly is because it's 1.5 combo. So I'll probably bump this up to 3 just to have more 1.5 starters. Then we don't play 2 of this one. This right here gives you additional normal summon and special summons back from graveyard, so it's essentially a +1, and it's a rock, of course. So these are your 9-200 rocks. So I'll probably bump this up to 3 too, because I didn't see it that often, so I wasn't able to even excavate it and hit off these, or even like draw into it. So I might bump that because I want to see that card. That card was fire. And then we played 2 of these. This card right here was like mostly like a brick, to be honest. Every time I drew it, to be honest, I like lost that game or made it harder because like it literally is essentially a brick. If you draw it, it doesn't do anything. I mean, obviously you can normal summon it, but you can't do nothing with it in your hand because if you draw this, you can additional normal summon. If you draw this, it literally does nothing. So, and also it's not an earth monster to discard from your hand, which came up multiple times. Like I will have this and this as like only monsters sometimes, and like 2 other hand traps. Well, if this was an earth, then the earth I can discard it like an earth, and especially summon this from my deck and get the combo started. So these might turn into like earth monsters. They are good to hit off the draw, but the draws didn't matter because for everyone doing draw, I mean, I already searched off these right here because I hit these off, and I searched for the guardians. So we played 3 and 3 of these. So this is like my only search of the deck, or if I start with Small World, right? So if I start with Small World, then if they draw me, then I can't draw off that anyway. So this becomes literally just a blank monster in my deck, which is not good. And this right here, I mean, still, and this is an extender because anytime a rock goes to the grave, just an extender. So I think these definitely might be cut because when you draw it, you literally can't do nothing with it in your hand. At least when you draw this, it's a earth, this is an extender. If you draw this, you can discard it off Doki. If you draw this, it's just normal summon. So these are just not this format. These are really good with Adamancipator sign, but since I don't play signs, then that card just really didn't. I kept seeing that card in my hand. It was just so bad, so bad. So if you was tell me right, if I was playing the regional tomorrow again, I would definitely just probably cut this. So I'm gonna test this without this card. So imagine those are just blanks right there. Just literally was any level 4 rock. It would be better than this card.
Well, of course he's a brick. He's a rock.
Oh, I see what you did there. Ha! I see what you did there. Okay.
He's even in a red sleeve.
I see what you did there. Yeah, it was a 200-person regional. 200-person regional. St. Peter's, Missouri is real good regional. So this is pretty much just like the engine. These are just all the engine cards. You know, like I said, you got starters and then you get the 1.5 starters, and that's pretty much the engine. And the rest is just defensive cards. I didn't play like signs or friends or any super heavy cards. You just want pure engine for consistency, right? Which is like almost 15 card starters, and then just hand traps. So tomorrow's the ban list, and so I had to play for this format of what cards will be good with this format or that last pass format. So we had 3 nib. This card went crazy, man. I nibbed so many people, especially when I went first. And I said they hand trapped me and I had to pass or just ended on the gate, and they passed on the gate. I had this for their turn, so they couldn't kill me. And a Rise Hard Pass don't do anything to me because I don't have like any graveyard cards. Like this is a graveyard card, but like it doesn't stop the deck. Like all these still work. So a Rise Hard Pass, if you go Rise Hard Pass, you're losing. And if you try to like 5 zone lock me at that time, then you get those. Then you also had Droll. Droll was cool, but it was very underwhelming. Of course it's good in Super Heavy Samurai, but next format deck should be out of the format. And against Cash Tier, they still have big monsters that I had to deal with, and I just lost a card from my hand. And I never had an opportune time to use it because they somehow kept. Well, I guess the one Cash player I did play, he just started with Unicorn, so Unicorn effect. Search Ketosis or Birth, and I draw them, but then he still had Ketosis or Birth, and then he was able to just literally do everything, and it didn't matter. So yesterday's tournament, Effect Baylor would have been a lot better. If I had Baylor, I probably would have beat that Cash player, but Draw was cool. I mean, I did play against Super Heavy Samurai, but I didn't need this because I just hand trapped him with the rest of the hand traps. We have the Ashes. I played against Branded. It was nice, and just a generic good hand trap. Then we have, sadly, RIP Gamma. So I was gonna play. So like next format, right? People will probably play the 1 and 2 deltas, which are the spell and trap negate. I was gonna do like that. This one, the spell and trap negate, or spell negate, and then trap negate. I was gonna do that, but then I was like, yo, might as well go out with a bang. Let's just try Gamma. Gamma just went crazy. Simply as that, people would just like start with something. I would Gamma him. I played against a Punk Gold Pride dude, and he tributed off his fusion monster to summon 2 for deck, and I Gamma him. And it just was very clean. He like passed turn, and that's how he got cooked. And then, yeah. And then our last hand traps was Imperm. Imperm, I say was definitely the best card in my deck, or best hand trap in my deck. Like these 2 were the best for sure. Because the reason why this was so good, obviously you can start with it on your turn and hit an interrupt. But also like the zone column things, like people are just very unaware about the zone columns. Like I play on the map with all the zones on it, right? And so I like would set it right here, let's say they have something set, right? I set it right here. Something will happen, whatever, like my turn will come or something will happen, or even on their turn, they will activate it, and they have a monster, I'm like, Imperm, and so I didn't get the monster that was already on the board, or that they just summoned and I didn't get their back row. Like against against the Brendan player, for example. If you're watching this, I'm sorry, but yeah, you messed up, buddy. On my turn, he flips over some trap that like tributed his monster or something like that, and so I activated Imperm, and so the Imperm negated the trap, and he got rid of his fusion monster that it got tributed for. So Imperm was crazy, and then against the Ellis player I played against, against Ellis, they have back row the floodgates, so you put whatever floodgate that's stopping, you put it right there, and you can negate it. And so this card had so many purposes. I mean, it plays around talents. You could do it on you can draw for your 6th card. It just has so many purposes. So this is definitely the best hand trap, and this was the second best in my deck. So yeah, that's the 16 defensive cards, 40 cards. I was like other cards that I considered. I didn't really consider anything else. Like I said, I built it that morning. And, you still have to play all these hand traps for super heavy and things like that. Board breakers, I didn't want any board breakers. I have those in my side deck. So I just wanted to stop them because that's kind of how I even did so well, because I only won 2 die roll out of the 6, and I kept, since I'm playing, essentially 16 hand traps, I was able to just draw any 2 of these and then pass people's turn, and, you just, one card can kill them with either one of these. Any one of these can just straight go for 8,000 damage. Any one of these, obviously uninterrupted. So if you have more, you can play through hand traps or whatever like that. So that basically was like the entire tournament experience. So that's the main deck. Extra deck. The extra deck definitely could have been better for sure. So let's start with the cards I didn't use. Okay, so some cards I didn't even summon once. Herald of Arclight, we didn't even summon this card once, but it is like interrupt while you're comboing or to play around your nib. You make this early, but I didn't make it once because when you make it 600 with 1,000 defense, they just attack over it. So I never made that. So that card can be a different card. I never made Dweller. Dweller, the ideal is, any graveyard deck you can Dweller them. But since we still in the Cash Terror format, then you don't want to Dweller. I'm not about to blind just Dweller. So this would probably be sided for any graveyard decks when I go first. You can just Dweller any graveyard deck, and then they can Dark Rule and Kaiju you. That's fine, but this is a lingering effect. So I did some of this once because, like I said, I kept going second, and when I did go first, it was I just couldn't get to this because I got hand trapped or something like that. So I never summoned this one. This right here is not needed as well. This right here just was like follow up. It allows you to excavate and add any Adaman. It was cool, but this right here should have been like any other level 6. So it should have been Coral Dragon. Because Coral Dragon is a water, which I wouldn't need to see any of my water cards to make this card live. This card requires a water in the graveyard. So if this was Coral Dragon, this card would have been live a lot more instead of me even need to see any of the water monsters to put in my graveyard. So that should have been Coral. So if that was Coral, then I would have summoned it a lot more. But since it worked Coral, I just never went with that route. Then we have this guy. This card is so crazy. I mean, the only good thing about this rock in my main deck is that when this goes to the graveyard, I can return this back to my extra deck and then put this on top of my deck. So when I excavate, I can hit this and draw a card. So that's the only thing that was good thing about this. So I might just drop this down to 1 because I do like the interaction. So I have like infinite ones of these if I go into a grind game for whatever reason. Like if I play against like Ellis deck and he outs this, then I can just return it, summon it again, just keep doing it until, yeah. Then we do play the one Reptile. I probably wish I maybe would have played 2 of this because it is like really clean. You always want to go for this because it basically helps you go for game. I mean, you activate this, you hit any of your miners, and then that miner hits something else, and then whether that's Doki or just another miner, and then you can maybe grant it to search for your other miner that you're missing and just go for game a lot. And his DD Crow effect came up multiple times. So I think another reason why I did so well yesterday is because like people was reading my cards and didn't know what they was doing or know what they did. They read them, they just didn't know. I guess they didn't read them that well. So like this guy, I summoned it and I had him in defense. He like activated some reborn card, right? Some reborn card, and like I used the DD Crow effect because I had a wind in my graveyard because I drilled him and I DD Crowed him and he like lost the game. I don't know if he could have done something different, but he definitely could have done something different because why would you activate Monster Reborn when I have a DD Crow quick effect on the field? So I think that's primarily why I did so well. Just people just know what the cards did. So those are like level 6s and level 8. And then they're still going with level 8. So my inboard consisted of Omega, because Omega essentially I was doing an Omega Lambda combo, so part of the inboard would be like, these 2 with like another probably like Baron or just another negate probably like this or something like that, or like IP. So it really depends, but this is part of my inboard. And then we have the Cell and Baron. Yo, this combo went crazy because I was resolving Gamma. Like I would activate Small World. Somebody asked me, and then I went to this and this, and then it was just like over. It was already over. I didn't really need to do much because I was able to resolve the game in my hand and make Baron and just combo off freely, and then I made my Lambda, and I was able to just get another Gemma. And another cool thing that was nice is that I would even like there was times where I would Gemma somebody, and then it'd be my turn, and Gemma would get banished, and then I would make this. I'll make these two. But basically, I would return Gemma the driver to the graveyard. Right? So driver, I always had access to driver, so I really do like those. Then we played for XYZs. Besides Dweller, I didn't make these cards at all. We played the Granite. You search for any rock card in your deck, and then we also played the 2 Zeuses. So the Excite Time was just insanely crazy. Like this one, the Brandon player. Sorry if you're watching, but I summoned this. He had like 4 monsters, 2 or 3 back row, whatever like that. Somebody used the effect. Oh no, the Punk dude. He had the one that fusion summons, quick play, and then one that synchro summons. So I summoned this, used the effect. I'm sure he could have like synchro summoned into the second Punisher or summoned into a fusion monster, or he could have did something. But I used the effect. He said, okay, that's fine. I'm like, all right, all cards go to the grave because I know they don't. I have 3 cards in my hand. I was like, no, it counts cards in the hand in your field. And he had like 7 cards on the field, and like 3 cards in his hand, and I only had I was going second, so I only had just that side time and 4 cards in my hand or something like that. And so I blew up his whole board. And this card caught a lot of people off guard. The cashier player who won the tournament, he ended up winning the whole tournament, and he kept ripping this card from my extra deck. So I think he knew that this card was some sauce because, he didn't even know what level 4 Extenders I had or when I could make a level 4, a rank 4 monster. So he kept ripping this, and he ripped Zeus sometimes too. So the cashier player, he played really well, and so shout out to him for winning the entire regional. Then for our links, that was pretty cool. I made IP a few times, but the biggest thing though was Unicorn Access. Oh man! So I played against that Brandon player, and he made Dragoons, and I basically got 4 monsters on the board because he didn't negate anything because I guess he was waiting. I don't know what he was waiting for, but even if he would have negated, he still got cooked. But I was able to basically summon 4 monsters. I'll link climb to this, link climb to this, link climb to this. And I used his effect to gain attack. And he was like, okay, Dragoon negate. I'm like, you can't respond to this thing right here. And so then he's like, oh, really? And he read it. I guess he didn't know. I don't know. So I attacked over his Dragoon and popped his field. And then, I was straight. So I was literally going to play Boral Sword and not play this. But I guess it's going to be mandatory because also it just pops back row too. I mean, and it goes, you go for the game and pops cards. Boral Sword is cool, but this has a lot of attack. I'll play everything again except for the Lemma thing. This thing is cool, but I wish I had any level 8 negate monster. So either Savage or I already played that card. So all these cards are all questionable ones because that combo was cool, but against that cashier player, all he did was summon Unicorn, attacked over this, and then or was it Fenrir? Attacked over this. No, it was Unicorn, attacked over this, and then just out of my board. So I can't really be in on that against cashier, in a cashier format, especially maybe next format I probably can. Since cashier won't be it's gonna be relevant, still gonna be a real good deck, but I don't know. These cards, I definitely needed a Savage or Crystal Wing, so that needs to be for sure part of this because. I can make this or I can make, this for Baron, but Baron was already used a lot of times, and so I needed one more negate monster. So, just a few changes that I make, but...
It's 2 Barons. Problem solved.
You said 2 Barons? Nah. Oh, and then, one other thing that I do want to consider is playing Stardust, because, there was times where I made Assault, but there was times where I didn't want to make Baron immediately with the Assault, because I had, another monsters on the board. Yeah, I had, one of these level 6s. And I really wanted to save this, maybe going to Stardust and then Synchro on their turn. So that's something I might mess around too.
Wait, Stardust Dragon?
Yeah, Stardust Dragon. Yeah, his effect is you can tag this out for Stardust Dragon, and all your Synchros are unaffected by I think card effects or something like that turn, something like that.
You trying to rev it up, you say?
Let's go. Onto the side deck. Side deck put in work. So against the cashier player, even though he beat me though, but since people don't know, I guess maybe this deck is so old, I don't really know. But people just didn't know how to play against it. So my man, I think he left his shifters in. Well, thank you, because I side shifter. One secret. So the reason why I even thought this deck was gonna be decent for any tournament, even though I was just playing it for fun and I just built it, is because the search cards I only have 2 search cards. My 3 search cards. I have Small World. I have this to search for this, but me searching this to my hand, I mean, it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, it's just that's not gonna help me. I have Small World, and then I have the draw off. The little blue one. I draw off that, but I don't always see this every time because there's only 2 in my deck. Even if I play 3, you don't really see it. Small World, I'll barely see. So let's say if I open all monsters. I mean, sometimes I'm not even searching anyway, and then since I don't have Coral Dragon in my extra deck to draw, and I guess this is one search, but I never made that, so yeah. So I think that's why this deck did so well, because I side shifter. I would main it if Cashier wasn't so prevalent. I might main it for next format. Who knows? But yeah. So I made him go first. He started with shifter. I mean, he still won the match, so then this doesn't matter. But he started with shifter. I'm like, okay. I only have like a few graveyard cards, but like it doesn't stop the deck at all. Like. At all. So yep, shifters for any back row deck. Sided against the branded player. That shit was that stuff was lit. And yeah, we got 3 Dark Rulers, just extra protection against super heavy samurai or just any real negate board or like Materia Beast. I play against a Materia Runic player. That's right. And I didn't get to see this, but he did make a Materia Beast on me game 1, but I was just out his board. And so, but Dark Rulers just to beat all them, super big decks. And then we just got 3 bitch deals. We have 2 Magnum ones and Druids. Yeah, this is just gets the back Mac deck because you want some cards or like Brandon, you want some cards to side out like Drolls. You want to side out, possibly like Nibs. You want to side those out against Brandon. So I wanted to side these in against Brandon. Then we have back row hate. Evenly just go crazy against that Cashier player. I enter battle evenly his board. He kept a Rise Heart, and then I had Gamma. So then I gave him his Rise Heart, and I made Omega, and that was lit. But I mean, I still lost the match. So all these cool plays I'm talking about don't matter. But there's a lot of cool things that you could do. And I played this LH player, I had evenly, and then we had just more back row hate. I was gonna.
Hey, you're all ready for next format.
Yeah, exactly. So if I had space, I would have played the third, and then because I wanted back row hate, but you need
doesn't matter now.
So new format, this is correct. But old format, I probably should have maybe cut this down or cut this down. I really like Lightning Storm over evenly. So yeah, that's the entire deck profile. It was super lit. I'm super happy with how I did. And subscribe to Coopstar Cards. I'm coming back. I'm doing this for my boy Sam's channel, the Pig Moth channel. So make sure you subscribe to him. And if you want even more details into the profile, come to Coopstar Cards, and I'm going to even further detail with the deck.
Expect him to give more of a competitive mindset viewpoint rather than the sauciest deck list you'd ever seen in your life.
Exactly. So subscribe, guys. We see you later over at my channel. Peace.
Yep, this is Paul Cooper, 4th place, Adamancipator deck profile.
Let's go.
Meh, Pig and Meh, signing out.